Hi, everybody. It's me. I am coming on here to, of course, do what I do best. Leave you a video message about my recent date. So I went on a date tonight, meaning Saturday, May 4th, with a guy named Sino. He lives in Quantico, Virginia. He is like an IT specialist for a private company. He does IT securities and other stuff. And like I said, he lives in Quantico. We met online, and he's married, and he's 41. He's married and divorced. He has two kids, aged 7 and 9. He's Nigerian. He was born and raised in Nigeria, moved to London when he was 30, and he moved here 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. He is a citizen. So we have been video chatting through WhatsApp like 2 to 3 times a day for about 3 weeks. And I say 3 weeks because we were doing it for like, yeah, 3 weeks, 2 to 2.5, 3 weeks. But we were doing it for a week, and then he had already had a trip scheduled to go home to Nigeria because he goes home once a week. And so right when we met, he was planning on going out of town like the next week. So he went out of town, and he was gone for 3 weeks. And I'm gonna be honest, I kind of forgot about him because anybody who really has online dating, it's like people come in and out kind of like that, and you're on to the next person if it doesn't work out. I know at least I am, just because I'm on a mission to find my person and I'm not trying to waste time. So I just move on very quickly. So I kind of forgot about him. And then 2 weeks ago, he messaged me and he was like, hey, just jumped in the Uber, landed, in Reagan National, and just jumped into the Uber on my way home. I wanted to, reach out to you to let you know I'm back. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember him. He's back. So after that, we started, like I said, like video messaging 2 to 3 times a day, having conversation. He's very analytical. He has like a dry sense of humor. Um, a little on the nerdy side, but it's like, it's fine. It's whatever. I am at a particular age where I know now that my person could look like anything, and I'm really not trying to discriminate. I'm really not trying to go by my type anymore because that hasn't worked for me. So he was like, I really want us to go out. When can we go out this weekend? Can we go out Friday? And I was explaining to him that we couldn't go out Friday because I had plans with my friend, but we could go out on Saturday. So he said okay, he was gonna come down here. Now let me tell you what he tried. Well, first he said he wanted to come down here and have us have lunch, and then he wanted to go to Starbucks and have us play Scrabble. Like, I mean, like real Scrabble. He had showed me the board game, and he had his Scrabble word dictionaries. He had the English one, and then he had two British and UK Scrabble dictionaries. So he was serious, and he was like, "Let's do that. I want to do that after lunch." And I was like, okay. But then I thought about it and I was like, no, he's not going to have me in Starbucks looking crazy. It's not really set up for that. Like the tables in Starbucks are small and stuff. It's not equipped to be setting up no whole Scrabble board. So I later was like, no, we shouldn't. I told him today, like, we're not going to do that. And he was like, no, it's okay. I wasn't going to bring it anyways because I'm going to come later and we could just have dinner and Starbucks might not be finished when we finish eating. So that settled that. So he said that he likes seafood and steak. So I found a seafood restaurant called Latitude here, and it's at this place called Stony Point, which is a mall, outdoor mall that we have here. And I've been to Latitude like one time and the food was delicious. So I was like, we can go there. So I sent him the link and asked him, was it okay? And the reason why I did that is because he was like, today when he was like verifying that we were still on, he was like, I had a stroke of brilliance. There's this place called Somebody Crab Shack, and people have been telling me the food is good, and I was thinking we could go there. And I said, do you mean a Joe's Crab Shack? He's like, yeah, that's it. He was like, there's one in Stafford and one in Fredericksburg. And I said, yeah, we don't have one here in Richmond. There's one in Fredericksburg. So we have to either drive to that one, or and there's one in Hampton, or we drive to that one. Each are like an hour away from us if we want to, you know, go there. So I said, but I hadn't planned on driving anywhere. You told me you were coming down here to me. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. No, it's fine for me to come down there. Don't worry about it. It's no problem. I'm still gonna come. So, like I said, I sent him the link and he was like, the food doesn't really look like it's that good, but don't worry about it because I'm really just coming to see you. So the food, is of no consequence. So I said, oh, okay, no problem. So he gets down here and I had texted him and said, hey, I'm running 15 minutes late because he said he was going to be here at 6:30. And I knew that I wasn't going to get there till 6:45. So I texted him and said, I was running late. So he didn't respond back, but I understood. I was like, oh, he's probably already on the road because it was going to take him an hour and a half to get here. So at like 6:38, he hadn't said anything. And I thought, he's probably really prompt. He got to the restaurant. Why hasn't he called? So I called him. He didn't answer. Then he called me right back and he was like, hey, I'm here, but I can't find the place. I keep driving around. I see he was telling me things that he saw. And I was like, hey, I'm like 5 minutes away. So just stay there and I'll come get you and then direct you to the restaurant. So that's what I did. So then we parked and we met up in the parking lot. And we met up in the parking lot. And then, we hugged. And I told him, I was like, you smell good. Because he did. He smelled nice. He had on jeans and just like a short sleeve button down plaid like shirt, which was nice because when we were video messaging, he had on a tank top and shorts and he had threatened to wear that. He said like, hey, I want to come as I am. I'm probably going to take the tank top off and just put like a collar shirt on, but I'm going to wear shorts because I'm going to be comfortable. This is maybe I'll, and if you don't want me to put on a t-shirt, I'll find a collar shirt because this is how I go to church because he's Catholic. He was this is how I go to church. So, if it's good enough. And I was like, listen, hey, okay, no problem. I was like, hey, I'm a dress type of girl, but I'll try to make my dress more casual and I'll throw some sandals on or some like designer, like flip-flops or, designer cute flip-flops to go with it just to kind of dress it down so I can be casual because I don't want to overdo it and then you in there with, shorts and a t-shirt. But like I said, when we met up, he had on jeans and a short sleeve plaid top. So, okay. So we get into the restaurant and they say it's a 20-30 minute wait. That's no problem. We go on the deck outside in the patio and wait. And we sit and talk, which is perfectly fine. It gives us a chance to talk. He's like, oh, you're beautiful. You're more beautiful in person. I'm like, thank you. He's like, I love your hair. I'm really not into hair, but your hair is so nicely done. And if you all can see, yeah. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And he was like, I really didn't think much of hairdressers because I felt like they just did that just to not do anything else because it really meant them and barbers that they didn't have any other talent. He was like, but the way she did that, it seems like she's really talented. And I was like, my hairstylist is very talented and she's creative. She can take a picture and, recreate that hairstyle for you. Her motto is, it might not be exact, but it's going to be pretty darn close. I can get you pretty darn close. And I was like, that takes a lot of skill. I was like, why would you say that? And so that kind of just told me something about him. Like, maybe he's caught up in degrees because he has a couple. And, but to think that, hair, no talent. He was like, but I look at your hair and it just looks so nice. I said, well, thanks very much. And he was like, I think maybe because it looks African. And I was like, oh, okay. It reminds you of home. Okay, no problem. I have African roots, so it's good. So we started talking about being creative and things like that. He has a bald head, so he was like, I just shaved my own head, so I have no. And then we started talking about like water intake. I was telling him that I wasn't sleeping through the night because I was drinking more water. And as a result, I have to go to the bathroom, and he was saying that I was drinking too much water and people die of water poisoning, and I was doing too much because it shouldn't be that bad. And I was like, no, you're supposed to drink half of your weight in water. That's what the dietitians and nutritionists and stuff say. He was like, that's not true. And see, that's another thing I found with him. I am open to learn. So I have allowed this whole time for him to try to educate me on things that I don't know about, and I haven't objected. But it's like he really thinks that he knows everything. And when he tells you his final opinion, like as to tell you, I'm tired of going back and forth with this, he always starts it off by saying, my final analysis is this. And then he goes on to tell you what it is, as to say like he's done a whole hypothesis and researched it or whatever, and this is the final analysis and you should support it because he's done the work on it. So, and I just don't agree, but I kind of just let it go. And if you know me, I really don't let stuff go, but with him I just let it go because I'm like, okay, okay, whatever. So, we talk about several other things, house versus apartment, and just like, because he stays in an apartment, and he's like, it's just me. I don't like doing that kind of work, so I can just call maintenance. Whereas I was telling him I was redecorating my whole house, like room by room, because in August it'll be 10 years that I've been living here. And so I just wanted to do a change, for 10 years. And he was like, yeah. And I was telling him, it's a lot when you have a house. You have to do all this stuff, especially when you live alone. So we talking about all those things. So then I decided to ask him because something had been bothering me. I knew he had 2 children, 7 and 9, and he had told me that in the beginning he was married and he had been divorced. But I noticed that, okay, he'd been gone for 3 weeks to Nigeria, and since you've been back and we talked like 2 to 3 times on the video message, you have said nothing about going to see your kids. And here it is the weekend, and while I appreciate that you wanted to come down and see me and go on a date, I'm thinking, why are you not with your kids? Like, why are you never with your kids? So it was just in the back of my head. So I had to ask him. So I was like, hey, have you seen your kids since you've been back from Nigeria? He was like, no. I was like, oh, did you see them before you went? He was like, no. I said, you talked to him? He was like, no. So then I'm like, well, what's going on? I was like, when was the last time you saw your kids? He said last year. Now, excuse me, I told you all it's May. So it's 5 months in the year. And by last year, I don't know if he meant December last year. He meant June of last year. I don't know when he meant from last year. So I was like, well, why is that? And he was just like, his ex-wife and him don't get along. She deliberately does things to get under his skin. They can't get along at all. And he doesn't want to talk to her. And in his final analysis, he was like, I'm just done. And I'll just be over here being successful in life. I'll save money. And then when my kids come around, if they come to me, I'll have something for them, help them out. And, it will go from there. And I said, uh-huh. I said, so you're really okay with not seeing your kids because of her? He was like, yeah, we fuss too much. She stresses me out. She's not going to put me in the ground early and, be the death of me. And so she wants child support, so I give her child support. I support them financially. I pay her. I added. He was saying he even added something extra to the amount that she wanted, and so he pays her and he takes care of his kids financially, but he doesn't talk to them, and they don't have cell phones, and even if they did, she would be able to control the cell phone. And he was like, so I'm just at a distance. And that bothered me. Now, his need to tell you his final analysis about everything, his need to feel like he's right about everything, him wearing a t-shirt and shorts or tank top, whatever. I don't care him even having an opinion about hairdressers, even though I didn't like the opinion. None of that was deal breakers. Even though, and also he was kind of rude to our waitress, which I didn't like, and I had to correct him because I have a soft spot for people in the service. I don't like when people are rude to wait staff and people who help them in the service, and you know, so I had to correct him on that. But I could have let all of that go. But when you are okay with not seeing your children and you are okay, I said, well, they're 7 and 9. They have 9 and 11 more years to go before they're 18 and kind of like out of the house from your ex-wife. You just gonna go that amount of time and not see or talk to your kids because you don't want to deal with her, missing milestones of elementary graduation, middle school, high school, like sweet 16, driving. You gonna miss out. And he was like, yeah, because I'm not gonna do this with her. And I said, so your disdain for her outweighs the love you have for your children. And that is what you call a deal breaker. Nothing to do with his personality. The date was fine. The meal was delicious. And he even admitted, he was like, oh, it didn't really seem like anything from the link that you sent me, but this food is delicious. So he was like, and I'm sitting in front of a beautiful woman who has a great personality. I mean, what more could I ask for? So he had a good time. And I'm just saying, everything was okay until we got to that kids thing. It's a deal breaker for me. If you're able to detach yourself from your kids, something you created, your bloodline, and they are a part of you, if you're able to detach from that, you can detach from anything. Why would I want it? Because he says he wants to get married again and he wants to have kids. Why would I want to get married to you and have kids? Something happened, God forbid. You're going to detach yourself from my kids as well. And then my kids wouldn't even know your other kids. And I'm not doing that. That's a deal breaker to me because that fundamentally says something about you. It says something about you. And yes, I judge you off of it. It says something about you. So, you know, we ate or whatever. He was like, okay, I'm going to go back. It's like 9 something going on 10. I'm going to get on the road so I can get back. Because he had an hour and a half drive. He walked me to my car. We hugged. He was like, I had such a good time. Can I take you out again? I really look forward to it. I'll come back down here. You don't have to come to me. I'll keep coming down here. You know, that's how much I want to see you. And I was like, sure. And I wanted to say no, but he was so excited and I couldn't do it. And I didn't want him to be driving in the rain thinking about like what went wrong because he would have been trying to analyze it. What went wrong that she would say no. And I just didn't feel like getting into it about his kids and stuff. So I said sure. And he video messaged me 3 times since the date, like, you know, and I haven't answered. But I did text him. I was like, hey, I'm not home. I'm not able to video message you. But did you make it home safely? He said, yeah. He was like, be careful. It's raining. It must be coming your way. I said, thanks. It's already here. You know, he was saying the harder rain because it already started drizzling when he was, or right after he left or whatever. And, you know, I did try to call him back, but he didn't answer. I had waited a long time. So I just tried to call him back probably like 30, 40 minutes ago. And he's probably asleep because he goes to sleep earlier than me. I couldn't do it. I mean, I'm going to do it. When he finally says like, hey, let's plan the next day. I'm probably going to have to, you know, break it to him and tell him because I don't like to mislead people. I don't lead them on or anything like that. Even though I don't want to hurt his feelings, I have to be truthful and honest. But I just cannot do it. And I'm sick of going on first dates. I really am, you all. I'm sick of going on first dates. And telling you all, and I know you're invested, and I appreciate you being invested, but I'm tired of doing it. But my journey continues. I have to be positive about it. I have to put it out in the atmosphere that I'm going to find somebody, and I'm going to find my person, and when it happens, it's going to be like love at first sight, and all that good stuff. But I just can't in good standing be with a man who is okay not seeing his children for the next decade. It's not okay with me. So I'm home. I had a good meal though. I'm nice and full. Shrimp. I had shrimp and grits with andouille sausage. I mean, when I tell you it was so delicious. And then I had a side of honey sriracha Brussels sprouts. When I tell you that honey sriracha sauce with them fried Brussels sprouts ain't number the truth. So good. He had a ribeye steak with asparagus and broccoli with a gorgonzola butter compote on his steak. And he said it was delicious. It looks good, though. It did look good. Looked like them asparagus were nice and sauteed in a lemon herb butter sauce. And the broccoli was double steamed. It did look delicious. He got his steak medium. So I mean, you could see that pink. You could see that pink all through there. But he said it was delicious. So, okay. So yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you all for listening to me. Take care. Talk to you later. Until the next time. Until the next date. I am also talking to somebody else. And so he said that he wanted us to go on a first date next week, Friday. And he wants us to do it at the spa. So this should be interesting. So I will keep you all up to date and let you know about that. Maybe he'll be the one. You never know. Fingers crossed. Mwah.